So, we're going to go on a very short journey on how I decided to go from New York to Massachusetts on 2 feet. Going to go from why I decided to do it, how I mapped it out, and again, take you alongside the journey, the trials and tribulations, the triumphs, the glory, the love, and the effect that I've had on not only myself, but those around me. So, let's start from the beginning. It all started with Ahmaud Arbery. He was a young man running in his neighborhood who got violently killed by two people who do not look like him. At this point in time, I took a break from social media because I just wanted to heal a little bit. I got the news that had happened, and immediately it sparked an interest. I wanted to do something in his honor. I did a couple runs around my neighborhood. Started off with a maybe 5-mile run, then it progressed to 7, 12, 15, then eventually we did a 27-mile run. Once I did that 12-mile run, I knew that I wanted to do something even bigger. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna run to Massachusetts. It was such a crazy idea. My friends, my family were just like, are you sure you're gonna do that? And I had no shadow of doubt that I was gonna get it done. Okay, I lied. I was a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little scared, especially everything that was going on. And I didn't think I was capable of doing it. The most I have ever ran was 40 minutes back in high school. And once my coach told me that, I'm just like, 40 minutes, who's gonna do that? Me? Nah, never. I was a sprinter. But I had a little bit of endurance to maybe run a mile run. So he was just like, I think you could do it. But once I, like I said, got to the 12-mile run, I'm like, you know what? I can do something even bigger. So that's how I decided to run to Massachusetts. Now, the way I mapped it out was I went to my Maps app on my iPhone. Then I just put a location, Union Station in Springfield, Massachusetts. And somehow, some way, there was a walking route. And I said, if it takes a day and some odd hours to walk, I could do it in a day. I was wrong. But we're going to get into that. So, everything was mapped out. Probably decided within a month that I was going to run. And me and my friend, we prepped for it. Like I said, we did a couple long runs. The longest we did was 27 miles, where we ran from where I live in Nyack to New York City Port Authority. And it took us like 7 hours, but we got through it. And that is one of the main reasons why I did the run. Unity. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have made it to New York City. I wanted to stop alongside the way probably every couple miles, but he pushed me. He wanted to stop a couple times because he was hurt. No, we got this. We'll get this together. And we did it. Now, I decided to do the run to Massachusetts on my own. Not for any other particular reason, other than I just wanted to take this journey and not have to run too fast to keep up with somebody else, because I knew that I wasn't going to go too fast. or it'd be the other way, where somebody couldn't keep up with me and it slowed me down. But it was more likely going to be the former, I tell you that, because even though I can run long distances sometimes, I'm not the fastest runner. But like I said, I took the journey alongside myself, and I took people with me by sharing my location and pretty much documenting everything on my Instagram story. I took off June 29th, 2020 at around 8 a.m. and I probably walked the first 4 miles. I had to walk across the bridge, the Governor Mario Cuomo Bridge, aka the Old Tappan Zee Bridge, and I decided to walk that because I knew that this journey was going to be a long one. So I was like, you know what, let me get some walking miles in now to kind of reserve my body later on, which ended up being both a great thing and one of my biggest downfalls. One of the great things, it benefited me because, like I said, it kind of eased the pain later on, but one of my biggest downfalls because I did lose a lot of time. So that first day, I walked across the bridge, and I was trotting along. I saw a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have seen if I just drove past it. And that's not something that I thought that would happen. I thought, I'll just be so focused on my run, I wouldn't worry about anything else. But there's, like, for instance, there was one hill I'm running past, and I was like, you know what? I know it's not part of the route, but I want to take a little detour. And it was a great experience, and I'm so glad I did it. And I did that for a couple times throughout the run, but that particular time, it was great. So, run along, and I get to Connecticut. At this point, I'm dehydrated to the point where I probably couldn't move anymore because my muscles cramping up and thirsty and everything like that. But somehow, some way, my mindset said keep on going, and I did. And I'm so glad I did, because I wouldn't be here today talking about this. So I got to Connecticut, and so you know what, dehydrated, let's keep on going. Trying along, and again, I got dehydrated, but this time I end up finding a CVS. Now, a couple things happened at the CVS. For one, I think I got a little bit too carried away. I bought like 3 bottles of water, big bottles of water. I bought a whole bunch of snacks, and a lot of it weighed me down. I'm not gonna lie, but it was worth it because I know I needed it. Now, I'm sitting in the parking lot. There are a bunch of teenagers who don't look like me, smoking. I think someone was having sex. I seen the car rocking, but and it's just a lot of stuff going on. I'm just like sitting there like, wow, this is how Connecticut is. I like it. But anyways, a police officer rolls through, comes to me, and I was scared shitless. Excuse my language. But it was okay. I'm a very respectful person, and I thought that would help me out, which ended up doing. And even the CVS manager came out within 2 minutes just to make sure I was okay. Like I said, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just wanted some water. I just wanted a little snacks, maybe some. I bought some applesauce. That's what it was. I love applesauce. Whew. But eat my applesauce, drink my water, and I'm the one who gets bothered. But it's okay. Nothing happened, and I was like, you know what? This is a sign for me to just keep on going. So I'm going, and it was dark where I was at, very, very dark. And it finally got to a point where I saw some light, and I tell you this, I have never appreciated life so, I said light so much in my life. The fact that I saw a light, I was like, all right, that means that there's people around. There might be another store. Who knows? Whatever. I need something. I was so bored. Um, but yeah, saw some light, and I saw that there was some hope. Keep on going, and finally get to probably around like mile 30, 30 something, I don't know. And it was late, probably like 12 in the morning, and my goal was to reach a hotel. The hotel was probably only like 4 miles away, but I seen that there were some reckless drivers, and I was just like, you know what, I don't really trust it. They seem drunk. I'm just gonna have to find somewhere to sleep. And I decided that it was in my best interest to find a house and sleep in their front lawn. So, it started to rain, and just at that moment, I looked to my right, and there it was. There was a house, nice and big, nice front lawn. I was like, oh, this feels great. There was a nice big rock that could shelter me from the rain, block the view from the house, and I set up camp there. I was scared, big time, but I knew that this was my only chance to get some sleep. It's probably the safest area, and I held onto my bag as tightly as possible, and I made it through the night. So I woke up early the next morning, probably around 4, 5 o'clock, and I decided that I need to eat a little bit more, because the day before I realized I didn't eat too much before starting. So I had some applesauce, I had some tuna, I had a protein bar, of course some water, and then finally started on my journey. Now I tell you this, it rained a lot. Like, probably more than I could ever remember, maybe because I was just in it. But it rained a lot, and I hated it at first, but I tell you this, and you see at the end, but it was my greatest benefit. Second day was, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fun. I found an alternate route. Like I said, I try to do that alongside the run, because just running on the highway or road, it was just a little bit too boring. So I found a railroad, and I ended up just running on there. And then I found this little shed. I was just like, you know what? This seems like a fun little shed to get on top of. So I got on top of it, and I did one of my favorite little dances. And gosh, these bugs are crazy. And yeah, and at that point, I was just like, you know what? I need to enjoy myself while I'm doing this, because yes, it's gonna suck, and it did. It sucked, but my purpose was high enough. My mentality was strong enough, so I was like, you know what? Let's have some fun with it. And I did, like I said. So that day, I think I got up to about 60, 70 miles in total, with the day before. And I ended up in Waterbury, Connecticut. Never heard of that place, but it was a blessing. I finally got to a hotel, so I slept there, and I tell you, sleeping in a hotel was a lot better than sleeping in somebody's front lawn. Very comfortable. The concierge was polite. We had a good time, and yeah, it was the second day. It was very quick. I think I ran the least amount of miles that day, um, and yeah. So on to the third day. Day three, I got off to a late start. I think I woke up around 12 o'clock, and I was honestly tired. Kind of needed it, but it's okay. We got through it. Said, got up around 12. Probably left the hotel around 12:44, and I was pretty excited. I was like, I feel real rested. I was like, all right, time to go, time to get out. Let's get this show on the road, and that we did. you know, it, because I left so late, I didn't get as many miles in that I wanted to. So it was probably around like 6 o'clock, 6 hours in, about 5 hours in, and I was like, you know what? I'm only like 7 miles down, and I realized that I had a lot to make up. So I was locked in. I had my hood on, had my mask on, I had my glasses, ready to go. I found a shell before leaving the hotel because I realized I had to do something with my hands. I was bored, and all I had was my phone, my camera, so I was a little bored. So I had the shell, and I was just rubbing it back and forth, keeping me occupied. Now, also, alongside the journey that day, like I told you, I like to find alternate routes, and I trespassed a little bit, cutting through people's yards, but it gave me one of my biggest blessings, which was a stick. So I had a shell, I had a stick, and I also found a little rock, but nobody cared about that. So, like I said, I found a stick. It was a walking stick, and I kind of just it was on the ground. I broke it off of the branch, and like I said, it was probably one of my biggest blessings, because without that stick, I probably wouldn't have made it. And I'm not being dramatic, maybe just a little, but I found the stick and just was trotting along as much as possible. I got somewhere in Connecticut, and one thing that I realized alongside the journey was I ran into some really amazing people. Well, they thought I was homeless, but there was this guy. I was just trying along and found out he's a barber, and we connected. We talked about life a little bit. Talked about where he's from. I talked about where I'm from, and just little things we had to go through, what we're going through now, and we really connected. Now, I say that to say I also connected with other types of people as well. There was a homeless man. We were outside of Walgreens. I was in there. I was just dancing a little bit, trying to have some fun, trying to keep my mind off the run, and still getting some snacks, and also bought a heater, a neck shoulder heater, because my bag was a little heavy, so I needed it. But ran to a homeless man. I'm taking pictures of the moon. Got some nice pictures, by the way. And he just sets up shop. He has like a little walker, sits on it, and he's being very polite. He's not haggling anybody, hassling anybody. He's just sitting there. Some people, gave him $1.50, something like that. And I looked at him. I was just like, something's up with him, in a good way. So what I did is went inside and went to the ATM and pulled out an undisclosed amount of money. And I just went out there. I shook his hand, gave him the money at the same time, and was just like, something tells me that you deserve this. Now, he went on his little spiel about, how he helps his mother, and he used to have his own place, and he, just went down the wrong path, basically. But one thing that stood out was he asked me if I was homeless. He was just like, "You homeless?" I'm just like, "Nah, I'm running from New York to Massachusetts." He was like, "You want to hear something?" And once somebody tells you, "You want to hear something?" you better listen to it, because it's going to be something nice. He told me that he walked from Michigan all the way to Kentucky. Kid you not. And I believe him. I believe him, because I don't think people would just make that up. And if he did, well, I'm sorry for telling you guys a lie, but that's what he told me. He told me I had to do about some woman, and people offered him rides, but he was like, "No, I'm gonna get through this. I need to." And yeah, so that really inspired me, and I was going to do the same thing, because a lot of times people were like, "Oh, do you need a ride?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I really appreciate it, but I'm fine." Because again, I think they thought I was homeless, but I kept on going after I met with him, and finally got to a hotel. And it was pretty late. It was probably like 1 in the morning, because like I said, I had to make up for some lost time, because I did wake up a little late. So got to the hotel. I ended up falling asleep in the hot bath. I woke up a little wrinkly, but I did some shoulder therapy. I had a little heating pad, and had a great night's rest. Great night's rest. So on to the 4th day. So day 4 was probably the most important day out of all the days in all of the lands. But definitely the most important day of the run. First and foremost, I started out my journey without my shell, so I had to go back to the hotel to get my shell, and thank God that they kept it. But afterwards, just started along my journey, and I'll tell you this. Remember how I told you that rain sucked at first? Well, that 4th day was the only day that it did not rain. It was scorching, and I felt it. So I tried to fight it as much as I can. I had like 2 big water bottles, and I think I drank a little bit too much too fast, because I thought that I was going to see some type of store. Saw a store at like 11 o'clock a.m. and didn't see anything afterwards until the next morning. So I'm going along, and almost instantly I'm like, whoa, I'm dehydrated. Now, there's a CBD company who reached out to me, because I ended up buying a CBD recovery from them, because I was like, you know what, I need something. And I don't like over-the-counter stuff, so I was like, CBD I heard a lot of great things about it. Let me give it a try. They reached out to me. They met me alongside my journey, and they ended up giving me electrolytes, and they gave me some gummies, and they gave me some CBD flour. And I tell you that it helped out so much. Even though I didn't have that much water, I mixed it in with whatever I could, and like I said, it was such a blessing. So finally got to about 100 miles, and I was like, you know what, I feel great. I pushed my train back for the next morning because I thought that I was gonna be able to get it all in that day, but reality set in. I was like, you know what, not gonna happen. So like I said, I got past the 100 miles and I'm feeling good, but within, I'm gonna say, probably like a couple hours, that dehydration hit again, and even harder. I had no water. The snacks that I had didn't do anything because I couldn't really digest it. I couldn't even swallow it. I ended up having to spit it out. But like I said in the beginning, the power of unity is what kept me going. Not even talking about all the support that I was getting online, which I'll show you in the next couple minutes, but the strangers, and you'll see later on what I'm talking about, that was even bigger, that kind of encapsulated the whole trip altogether, was what really got me through it, especially on that last day. And honestly, not to be dramatic again, without these four individuals, I probably would have either died, passed out, or anything like that. So first, it was a man on a motorcycle. Seeing him drive past because I was just laying out on the side of the road, couldn't really move, and I see him circle back. I was like, oh, thank you, God. Hopefully he has something for me. And he did. He gave me a sports drink, and I'll tell you this, I mixed some CBD electrolytes and CBD hurry in it, and it was disgusting, but it got me through it for about 20 minutes. Then again, I got dehydrated. I sat on the side of the road, and a young lady and her mom drove past, and again I see him circle back. And I tell you this, it wasn't just those two who stopped. There was about a couple other people who checked on me, but I was like, I just need some water. But they didn't really have anything, so I was just like, I really appreciate you stopping. Hope you have a great day. But this one young woman and her mom, they stopped, and I was like, what do you need? I'm like, I just need some water. They didn't have anything in the car. They was like, oh, we're gonna go to the store. We'll be right back. And it was probably about 10-15 minutes. Okay, in my mind, it was about 10-15. It probably was like 5 to 7 minutes. But I was just like, oh, they're never gonna come back. I'm all alone out here. Blah, 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 blah. And when I seen them speeding back, it was just like my soul left my body and just went to their car and hugged them, because that was exactly what I needed. Not necessarily the water, but just knowing that somebody was there. Us two strangers. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't even have to stop. They didn't have to look my way, but they really took time out, took money out, and got me something that I needed. And it was pure love. So I had the 3 water bottles. I had some snacks, and I went along as much as I could. Now, it got to a point where my feet were swollen to the point that I couldn't even wear my shoes. So I pulled off to an intersection. It was pretty late, not late at night. It was probably like 8 or 9 o'clock. And took my shoes off, drinking my water, eating my snacks, having a grand old time. Not really, but trying to make the most out of it. Police officer pulls up, and I thought I was scared with the CVS. This was even worse, because I was out here all alone. There weren't a bunch of kids out there. Wasn't the CVS manager to save me, which is me and this officer and his bright lights. But he did something that seemed like a small gesture, but like I said, that unity, that love just summed up this whole trip. Came to me, excuse me, young man, is everything okay? First thing he asked me. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Just a little dehydrated, but I'm fine. It's like, got a lot of stuff out here. You're not really supposed to be sitting out in the intersection. Is everything, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just running from New York to Massachusetts. He was like, let me see some ID to make sure you're not on the run. I was just like, oh, that's not a problem. Here, check my ID. I don't care. I'm nothing to hide. He was like, do you have any felonies? I'm like, I hope not, no. And you know, he checked me out, and he was just like, so you really running from New York to Massachusetts? I'm just like, yeah. He was like, are you a marathon runner? I'm like, no. I was like, I did a Spartan race before, but that's just about it. He was like, Spartan race? I was just like, yeah, you know about it? He was like, do I? And come to find out, we actually ran a Spartan race on the same day at the same event. Obviously, we didn't know, but we connected on that level. He was like, well, I see you have a lot of stuff, but do you need anything? I'm like, if you have some water, if you have some food, I'm tired of eating this applesauce, that would greatly be appreciated. So he went back to his car and he pulled out a little lunchbox and he was like, listen, I got some water, I have a banana, I have a bologna sandwich, I have some little granola bars, and I also have these cookies that my daughter baked me the night before. Would you like it? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll take it all. So his partner came and I was like, okay, you know, got some more stuff coming. Because that fear turned into love real quick. But, you know, he had some stuff as well. He gave me some water. He gave me little snacks. I think some apple slices and, you know, just almost on my journey. And that right there embodied everything that I needed to from the whole trip. Finally made it to Springfield, Massachusetts, and never looked back. But now on to everything that came with it afterwards. So like I said, I shared every part of my journey on my Instagram story to keep people updated, to keep people entertained, informed, and I thank God that I decided to do that. Not because of the publicity I got from it, but because of the amount of lives I was able to impact. To this day, it's June 6th, or something like June 5th, 2021, and I still have people come up to me expressing like, oh, I remember seeing you on the news a couple months ago. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's almost a year ago, but yeah, he was just like, you know, I really love what you're doing, and keep it up, you inspire me, and I'm just like, at the end of the day, it's all love, and that's all I really want is pure love. So, Spring Valley NAACP reached out to, I believe, News 12, and they did a story on me. We met up at the park, did an interview, did some shots, and they put me up on the news. And that is something that I did not expect to happen. It was a lot more people who thought that my journey was worth watching, and it's a blessing, and it was, again, all love. And you know, I had old teachers reach out to me, I had complete strangers reach out to me. The oddest encounter I had was I was bartending at a club, and you know, a guy was making a beer delivery, was just like, wait, are you the guy who ran the master? I'm just like, yeah. He was like, man, listen, keep doing what you're doing. I love it. Same thing, you know, you inspire me to keep on going with my goals. And I was like, wow, like, I really love that. I appreciate that. I'm glad that something that I thought was a small gesture could impact you in that way. Now, I had a couple other news people reach out to me and did a couple more interviews, and like, again, it was all love, and I really appreciate all those who pull strings to make that happen. Like I said, to this day, I still have people coming up to me and expressing what I did, you know, influence them to continue on what they're doing. And I just want you to know that if you need anything, whether it's you need advice on running or if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. I'm a certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, and by the time you're watching this, I'm probably a certified yoga instructor as well. And my biggest thing is having a fit mindset. Everything starts with a mindset. Because you could be the strongest person in the world, but if you're not strong-willed, if you don't have that mindset, it'll be a lot more difficult to get through it. We are capable of doing a lot more than we can even fathom. So please, don't settle for anything less than great. There's gonna be good days, there's gonna be bad days, there's gonna be some days where you just don't want to get up in the morning. There's gonna be some days where you have a good mindset, some days where you have a bad one. But as long as you continue to trot along, despite dehydration, despite anything else, you will surely reach the promised land. You're truly amazing. I thank you for watching this. I love you. And continue on having a fit mindset. Thank you.